Hey, welcome everybody to one of our new special Tuesday segments on the Educational AD podcast. We'll be right back with today's Tuesday expert. But first, we want to acknowledge our partners, We Coach, the global community of women in high school sports, and Vital Signs Wall of Fame.com, along with the Florida Coaches Coalition. You've heard me say many times, these are four great organizations. You should really add them to your network. Now, don't hit that fast forward button. Stay with us for the next 3 minutes. We're going to give our sponsors a shout out. These are all companies I used as an athletic director, and you should really be using them too. Here we go. We want to say thanks to Gipper. Gipper is the official social media graphic solution for the podcast. And if you go to Gipper.com, their team is going to help you to create world-class content for your school's social media channel. Your kids are on social media, and if you're not promoting your team, celebrating your athletes, you're really missing out. Gipper's used and trusted by over 3,000 athletic programs across the country. It's professional graphic design made simple. Mention the podcast, you'll get a nice discount. That's Gipper.com. We also want to thank Hometown Ticketing. Hometown Ticketing is the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Do I need to say anything more? Go to hometownticketing.com. Let their team help you start selling your tickets online. Hometown Ticketing, it's digital ticketing that offers more. We want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to show off your school record boards for all the teams, for all the sports, or your school's Hall of Fame, or simply tell the stories about your school's diverse history and your proudest moments, go to their website, vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their interactive touchscreen video consoles. Their mission is to help you bring your school's legacy to life. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to thank Home Campus. Go to homecampus.com. They're the official and exclusive high school and state association management platform for us. Also, your one-stop platform for things like student athlete eligibility and clearance, uploading forms, helping the parents upload the forms themselves, and a whole lot more. As an athletic director, I used Home Campus every single day, and it was just great. To get more information, all you have to do is go to homecampus.com. That's homecampus.com. We also want to thank Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to their website, sidelineinteractive.com, and set up a live web demo to see their scoreboards and their score tables in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com to get started. We want to say thanks to Huddle for their support. Go to huddle.com and change the way you see the game. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure our school is a Huddle school, and our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided that let them coach our kids up to their highest level. At Huddle, we believe in sports, and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 8 million users. Turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to our good friends at Snap Raise. Are you tired of spending hours and weeks on fundraisers that take all your time and give you little, if any, return? Well, stop right here and go to snapraise.com/EDAD. Hands down, it's the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school, tremendous success, and you're going to love it too. Basically, it works. Okay? They also have a lot of other platforms designed to help you as an athletic director. And if you go right now, you're going to be entered in a $1,500 drawing with your next Snap Raise fundraiser. Go to snapraise.com/EDAD. And we want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, even your coaches, you're really missing out. ADs already hear back from the complainers, the ones that want to gripe about everything. Well, Athletic Surveys will connect you to that group, but it'll also connect you to the 98% of your parents that love and support your program. And that's a tremendously valuable tool to have when you're talking with a frustrated parent or your principal or your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create that custom survey that'll let you take the pulse of your school's population. athleticsurveys.com. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast in our new Tuesday segment. We've arranged a superstar team of athletic professionals, and I'm very excited to have my good friend John Sgromolo as part of that team. Longtime listeners of the podcast will recognize that name. John was the county athletic director for Clay County here in Florida. He's also a member of our FIAAA board. Is a very in-demand speaker and presenter. He is an expert on all things athletic. He's also started a new position. He's the director of athletics at St. John Country Day School, which is, again, right here in Florida. I'm going to get out of the way, but John Sgromolo, welcome back to the Educational AD Podcast.
Hey, Jake, thanks so much for having me. It's been a while. It was as we got on air this morning, I was talking about the nostalgia of seeing you on the Zoom screen. It brings me back, back to when you got the podcast started in the summer of COVID. And I just want to say congratulations. So many great things in our profession have come out of that venture. And it started with you taking the step, diving into the technology, and now we have such a great platform to talk best practices and really network with our profession. So congratulations on that. But yeah, as you said, it's this is a new chapter of my life. This summer I didn't really plan on switching roles, and the St. John's Country Day School athletic director position. We're an independent private school in Northeast Florida in Clay County, Orange Park to be exact. The job came open, and after some discussions with the head of school and touring the campus, I talked with my family, and it was the right thing. A lot of people think, oh, well, you were a county athletic director, you were one of one. Why would you give that position up? And, I think there's a lot of reasons. I'm 33 years old. I got a lot of working life left in me. So is that to say I'll never be a county AD again? Who knows? This has been a new challenge. I've never been in private school, and that's something that we're going to talk about today, just some of the differences of public and private education and how that changes your role as an athletic leader. There's some different intricacies that I've learned in the past 4 months that I think people can gain some information from. But, most of all, it's been a good restart. I can tell you kind of forget, I think as professionals, sometimes we get in our comfort zone. And for me, this was not planned to totally uproot my comfort zone and get into this total new, essentially starting over here at St. John's. And but it's been a good challenge. It's been testing, but it's something that's going to make me better in the long run for sure.
Yeah, and I remember this summer, you called me up and we had some discussions about, those differences between public and private, which is where I've spent most of my career, as an AD here in Florida at private schools. And it's not a good, bad, right or wrong. It's just there's some things that are different. I think there's far more things in common than there are differences. But what are some of the things that you've seen in your 4 months that maybe surprised you that they were different, or surprised you that they were the same?
Well, and this is one, yeah, that's a great question. One thing I would tell you is, and this is going to sound really common sense, but I will say this: there's probably a lot of listeners that are athletic directors that have been at one school for their entire career. They might have been an alumni there. They come back, they coach there, they teach there, then they become the AD. And in their educational experience, they've only been at one school. I can tell you that as a former county athletic director, getting to see the inside operations of 14 different middle and senior high schools, and now at St. John's getting to see the private example of that, there's one thing that rings true: kids are kids. And that is whether you're at a private school, whether you're at a public school, junior high, high school. Kids want to be challenged, they want to be recognized, and they want to be encouraged. And I think the one thing that I've learned, crossing over to St. John's Country Day, is the student athlete experience is still number one. It's still the most important thing when we come back to what kind of impact we can have as an athletic leader. It is driving that student athlete experience. One thing that's been different for me here at a private school as opposed to public, in public, and it's kind of a cool thing. I really felt like I was trained up on how to raise money, because in public school, your gate sales drive your budget. You do not have a budget without ticket sales and fundraising. So something that's been a little bit different here is because we have tuition, I was able to craft a budget, submit that to the CFO, and then the CFO makes his adjustments and then approves it. And it frees you up from some of the day-to-day type things. Like, for instance, we don't charge home fans for admission, which like, because they're paying tuition for their child's education. And that was like the first day I was like, what? When you're in public school, that's your I mean, that is your budget. So that's been a little bit different. Also at our school, we don't necessarily do the, cookie dough fundraisers or any of those types of things. We're more of a collegiate type development model where we do have, the athlete of the week is a sponsorship that we put out to our community, the coach of the month, and then just annual giving. We have an annual fund. So learning how to navigate that route of fundraising as opposed to just your typical cookie dough sales has been different. But, at the end of the day, those funds for both, arenas of education go back to the student athletes. So that's been good.
Yeah. And from my perspective, and again, I started my career in the public school sector, so I know exactly how important those gate receipts are. But I think and whatever you want to call it, the advancement office, the development office, that office at a private school that's responsible for raising money, it's a much better model for athletics because it allows your coaches to coach. They're not out there nickel and diming local sponsors, where the advancement office, they're not asking for $50 or $100. They're asking for $500,000 or more. And again, that money comes back to the athletic department. So again, when it's done right, it's certainly, easily what would be called the best practice. You mentioned earlier the student experience, and kids are kids. Now, again, for listeners, if you don't know John Sgromolo, you need to add him to your network, and he's going to give out that information at the end of this segment. But John has long been recognized as one of the gurus about branding and the use of social media. And you did a tremendous job with Clay County schools in that area. What was the state of, let's say, the social media presence for St. John Country Day when you came on? And I've seen your posts already, but what were some of the things that you came in to maybe add to that?
Oh, no doubt. That's a great question. So I commend, Tracy Livingston, the former athletic director here. She did a decent job of setting them up for success. One of the first things that I noticed was all of the individual teams had their own St. John's handle at SJCDS and then the sport, which was huge because if you're building a social media marketing platform for your athletic department, that brand consistency is key. So if it's Baker County High School at BCHS basketball, at BCHS volleyball, it helps your fans and your community find those pages a lot faster. Also helps you when you're posting, tagging those folks and kind of building that synergistic model. So that was one thing that was great here, was that almost all of the programs already had a St. John's tag. The second thing that we added was consistency. So we had some programs that were doing, media day with pictures, with pictures and video, and would have a photographer come in. So what we did was we started a department-wide media day. We actually had ours yesterday for winter sports, where we had 3 different stations. And this is something that as an AD, I cannot scream from the mountaintops enough. You should do this. It saves you, it saves your social media people, it saves your yearbook people from, chasing the tail all the time. I actually started this back when I was at Ridgeview High School back in 2016, this media day model, where what you're trying to do is knock out all of the monotonous pictures that you're going to want throughout a season, right? So in the past, our yearbook sponsor would say, hey, I need the schedule and I'm going to try to come to practice, and you got 9 teams, it's a mess. So what we do is in our gym, we have 3 separate stations. We have the social media station, which is just a blank white backdrop where we take individual photos of the athletes. We have the video station, which is where our video partner creates a 30 to 45-second hype video per sport. And then we have the yearbook station, which is where they take the team photo. So we are able, yesterday, we did it in 45 minutes, 9 programs, 9 hype videos, 9, social media graphic banking, so to speak, creating this bank of pictures that now when we design, we have this whole bank in 45 minutes. The kids loved it. They had a great experience. A couple of people said this was the first time they've done it at St. John's. So a couple of people were like, wow, I signed to go play at Columbus State University, and this is exactly what they did last week, And I think nationally, you're going to continue to see that trickle down effect from collegiate athletics to high school. I mean, we're almost there where you're higher achieving, your higher achieving departments in interscholastic athletics are doing these types of things. And as school choice becomes more important across the globe, there's going to, you could get left in the dust if you're not adapting to these types of student athlete experience type things.
Yeah, without a doubt. And they're all great ideas, and athletic directors are probably the best at stealing great ideas from other people, whether it's the college level or other high school ADs. John, there's a ton of different topics we could go on. One that I always tried to make sure was happening in a good way at our schools was the idea of equality among our programs. Any school, public or private, you're going to have teams that this year, this team's winning, they're going to state, and then you're going to have other teams that just because of where they are in their journey, they're building or struggling or whatever. What are some things that you have put into place? I know I'm putting you on the spot right now, but what are some things that you put in place in your 4 months at St. John Country Day to kind of, I guess, number one, communicate the vision that, hey, we are all Spartans, but also get that equality, not bringing down the championship teams, but helping build up those teams that might not quite be there yet. Anything you can share?
Yeah, for sure. I have a couple different things, and that's a great question and a very valuable question to ask an athletic director, because I can tell you right now, in the culture of high school sports, one of the and this is for our younger ADs, our veterans know this. One of the first things that people are going to do is they're going to try to catch you celebrating Team A more than Team B, right? That's just a natural. And when I first became an AD, I was also a head baseball coach. And I knew that was going to be a hurdle of everyone on the campus saying, oh, well, he's the baseball coach and the AD, so he gives everything to baseball, or, we give everything to football. So there's a couple different things to kind of like level that playing field. First, at St. John's, one of our cool traditions is at the start of every single day, we have morning flag. We have a quad in the middle of our campus. We have just under 500 students here at St. John's, K through 12. At morning flag, everyone in our entire school gathers around the courtyard. The senior class president is we call him the speaker. I call him the speaker of the house. We have a microphone that is plugged into a sound system on our campus, and he does morning announcements. So one of the things that I implemented with our coaches is that it is a requirement of them as a coach after each game to submit a game report to be read at flag. So one of the things I told our coaches that maybe are in the rebuilding phase is, just because you lose a game doesn't mean you can't pluck 3 or 4 positives, 3 or 4 attaboys to your team, right? So middle school, we have some middle school programs that boys soccer, we haven't had a team for 2 years. We have a new coach from South Florida that just moved here. He's high energy. He's got 16 kids. So we have a team, and they're not very good yet. They're working towards it. But their first game was rough. But on the post game report, he was able to shout out, "We had a great our defense did this, our attack did that, and this is when the next game is." So I think those game reports, and if you're not if you don't have a morning announcements or morning flag, you could do that on social media. You could push out, this is the game report from this game, so to speak. That's one thing. The next thing is the athlete of the week recognition. I would really highly recommend athletic directors implement. There's also a monetary piece to that. You can find a sponsor. You can do it on social media. And then you recognize all of your sports. I try to do a really good job throughout the season to make sure not, like here at St. John's, our girls soccer program is nationally known. They've won 14 state championships. And I could very easily pick a women's soccer player every single week that is deserving of being the athlete of the week. But, this year I may pick a middle school boys basketball player, depending on if they've done enough to earn that honor. So I think those are two really good ways that you can make sure you're spreading the wealth.
And I'm even going to add one to that. And again, those are great ideas, tremendous ideas. Not being able to announce that, hey, we beat our rival or we won the big game, but you've got those 16 players on that middle school team or whatever team. Each individual team account, they can have the teammate of the week and just promote your program, promote that kid. There's that attaboy or attagirl. The parents are going to see their child, being promoted by the school. You can do all those things around winning, which we all want to win, but you can also do those little things to promote the program and the kids in the program. Great ideas, great stuff. John, we could go on and on and on, but I know you actually work for a living, unlike me. For our listeners, John Sgromolo, he's the athletic director at St. John Country Day School. That's here in Florida. And I really highly recommend that you add him to your network. He's going to be a regular member of our Tuesday team here. But John, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out and connect, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, thanks, Jake. So I'm real big on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter at Coach Sgromolo, SGROM as in money, OLO. Please feel free to reach out. I can tell you from this podcast, I've met so many athletic directors across the nation. We've had some great conversations. There's nothing better than connecting with someone and then meeting them at the national conference or wherever it may be. I've met some really good people through the podcast. You can also send me an email, which is jsgromolo, like I spelled previously, at sjcds.net.
And you can also find John on LinkedIn. And for the NIAAA members, his information's in the NIAAA membership portal. John Sgromolo, St. John Country Day, thanks for sharing today and all the best with the rest of the school year.
Thanks, Jake.
For listeners, we do this every single Tuesday, and we also upload the Zoom recordings to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. Of course, we appreciate you listening. Come back next Tuesday for another great guest, just about every day for new content on the Educational AD Podcast. Hey, before we go, we do want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Go to their website, vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their products, mention the podcast. They'll give you a nice discount. vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to say thanks to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle. As an AD, we were a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com to get started. We want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. At my school, we use surveys for everything. And if you're not using a survey to take the pulse of your parents and student athletes, you're really missing out. Go to athleticsurveys.com to get started. We also want to say thanks to Snap Raise. Snap Mobile's the company. Snap Raise is the platform. Hands down, the best online fundraiser out there. It works. Go to snapraise.com/EDAD to get started. We want to say thank you to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com, start creating world-class content for your school's social media channel. It's so easy, even I can do it. That's Gipper.com. We want to say thank you to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. I don't think I need to say anything more. Okay. Go to hometownticketing.com for more information. Okay. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor scoring table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com to get started. That's sidelineinteractive.com. Okay. And we want to say thanks to Home Campus. We want to say thanks to Home Campus. As an AD, I used Home Campus every single day, and it was just great. Uploading physicals, student athlete eligibility and clearance, you name it, Home Campus can do it. Go to homecampus.com to get started. Thanks again for listening. Apologize for the interruptions. Come back next time for the Educational AD Podcast.